Hey everybody, this is Lance from Desert Tech, and I have a 308 Wolverine here, and I would like to show you guys how to swap your receiver from right-hand eject to left-hand eject. The only tools you're going to need is a pair of pliers and a T15 Allen key star bit. To start taking down your gun to swap it from right-hand eject to left-hand eject, we're going to separate the upper receiver from the lower receiver by popping out the 3 pins. You have 3 takedown pins. You have one in the rear, one in the middle, and one up on the front, which is your pivot arm. And to do that, all we're going to do is take one of our pieces and start pushing these through. So your takedown pins are out, and on the opposite side of the gun, let's just pull these all the way up, and we're going to separate our upper receiver from our lower receiver. So we're going to put our lower receiver to the side because we actually don't need to do any work on this. All of the work that we're going to be doing is going to be on our bolt carrier here. So the bolt carrier and its bolt head needs to just be rotated 180 degrees. So I'll show you how to take that apart. And then inside the receiver, you have an ejection chute door right here, and then also a cover for the opposite side of whatever side you're going to choose to set your rifle up for. Obviously, if you want to go to left hand, you're going to want to take this piece here and put it on the other side of the receiver. And to do that, you'll just need to use a T15 star bit. And you're going to loosen this screw here on the cover side, and this screw here on the ejection port door side. And then those are held in by a locking M-lock type nut. And then you just need to replace the sides, or swap the sides that those two sit in. And then you can swap it from left-hand or right-hand eject to left-hand eject. So let's start doing that. Let's start with our bolt carrier. It'll be the easiest one to do. Your extractor claw on your bolt carrier is going to be which way your bullets flip out of your ejection port, either the right or the left side. The extractor claw is set up currently on the right side of the carrier body, which means it will eject from the right side of the gun. To make it so it ejects on the left, all we need to do is rotate our bolt head 180 degrees. And to do that, let's start taking apart our bolt carrier by removing this cotter pin in the rear, which will let our firing pin fall out the back of the carrier body. We're going to take our cam lug out by rotating that 90 degrees and then pulling that out as well. And then next, our bolt carrier, or at least our bolt head here, we're going to reinsert it with the extractor claw sitting on the left side of the carrier body. This way now when it ejects, it's going to spit rounds out the left side of the gun. And now let's just reassemble our bolt carrier entirely in reverse order. So let's take our cam lug, drop that back in the inside of the cam track, rotate that 90 degrees. We're going to insert our firing pin into the rear, and then take our cotter pin to retain all of that together, push that into the carrier body, and we now have our bolt carrier set up for left-hand eject. All right, our bolt is now set up for left-hand eject. Now let's take our ejection chute door and cover side, and let's remove those and then swap the sides. So we're just going to take the T15 star bit. We're going to loosen it all the way. You might need to apply some pressure on the inside so it doesn't just spin the bolt when it unlocks. So we got the screw, and the nut is going to come out as well. And just put those to the side, and your ejection cover should just come right off the side of the gun. It leaves a nice big ejection side or hole where your ejection port will be. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing on the opposite side of the gun. Same bit. We're going to loosen this. Take that screw. The screw and the nut are interchangeable between both sides, so it is the exact same parts. And then your ejection port side door should come right off the other side of the receiver. Now that our cover side and ejection port door are off the receiver, let's go ahead and swap the sides. So we have the ejection port door. Let's go ahead and put this in the left side of the receiver. There are 2 little claws here that are going to fit on the front side of the receiver. Let's just put those 2 in, and it should slot right in there. And then let's insert the screw in the back and then put the nut in from the inside of the receiver. It's easy to do by holding it in place with your finger from the inside of the receiver. There is a little groove that it will line right back up into. And once that's being held in, let me swap hands here. try and find that little groove that it sits in. Okay, there we go. That's in, and then I am just going to take my T15 Torx bit. I'm going to line those holes up. There we go. Okay, once that's aligned, I'm just going to go ahead and give that a nice tightening down. We don't want that coming loose during firing. And then on the opposite side of the receiver, let's take our cover for the right side now that we're going over to left-hand eject. And we're going to do the exact same process. Let's push this into position so it covers up the right side of the gun. That way we don't get dust and ingress inside the receiver. We're going to put our nut into the little wedge on the inside, put our screw in, and then tighten this piece down here as well. And then of course, let's make sure it's pretty tight so it doesn't come loose during firing. All right, and we have now swapped our ejection port door from the right side of the gun to the left side of the door and replaced the cover side as well for that side. And now let's just put our bolt back in the gun. Inside the receiver, you have two guiding tracks on the inside of the upper receiver of the Wolverine. And then on your guide rod and spring assembly for your bolt carrier, you have two grooves that are going to interface with those two in the inside of the upper receiver. Those are going to slide right in, and then you should be able to just drop your bolt carrier straight back into your upper receiver. There we go, bolt heads back in, and let's fully reassemble our gun here. Push all of our takedown pins back in, and we are now set up for left-hand shooting.